let's go to our next film right here. Brightburn. And y'all know this is the one where they were talking about, the whole hook is, what if Superman was evil?
Mm-hmm.
We believe that you came here for a reason.
Before we start, I want to let everybody know that this video is sponsored and approved by AMC Shudder, which is very appropriate because we're talking about a horror movie right now.
Oh, yes.
Now, if you're a fan of horror, you probably already have this service. But if you don't, I'm going to tell you about it. I don't know why you don't know about Shudder. Martin, you know about Shudder?
I do know about Shudder.
It has so much horror, Martin, that some people even call it the Netflix of horror. When you go there, the service is easy to use. Everything is categorized very well. It's uncluttered. It's neat. This is something that you can navigate around very easy. And speaking of variety, I want to tell you my experience with it because some of y'all are saying, quit lying, Corey. Quit just selling stuff that you don't even use. I use it. I want to tell you about something that I saw on Shudder a couple of weeks ago with Corey Goodwin. They had this documentary. Yes, they even got documentaries on there. They got this documentary called Horror War. It's about the history of black people in horror films, right up to recent movies such as Get Out.
Okay.
And like I said, if horror is not your thing, maybe you're an action person. Hey, who doesn't love Stan Lee? The man's a legend.
It's true.
And he's gone now, but he left us with a series, a British crime series right here called Lucky Man, a Shudder exclusive series right there. And even if you are scared of half these movies on here, just be scared because they made it so convenient for you to be scared anyway, Martin. They got it on any device that you want out there. Martin, I'm going to go down the list.
Okay.
Martin, now I got an iPhone, so I'm good. I got an iPad.
Yeah, that works fine for you.
Yeah, well, I got the iPad, I got the iPhone. I'm good, Martin. But, for you, how about this? You know what? You got an Apple TV?
No.
I do. I'm good. But, Martin, how about an Xbox One?
Yes.
Oh, you do? I'm surprised. Well, you're covered, Martin. What about Amazon Fire TV?
Got that.
Oh, Martin, you ain't got no excuse no more, Martin. How about Google Chromecast?
Got that, too.
Martin, damn, Roku.
Yep, one of those.
Android devices.
Lots of them.
Martin, stop looking at me and get this service right now.
So I can do that right now?
You can do it right now. On that device right there. Get it. Stop looking at me.
Sure.
We're going to give it to you 30 days for free. That's right, almost a full month of all the horror, sci-fi, and thrillers that you can take. And to get it, all you have to do is type into the link below the promo code Double Toasted. Now that's all one word, so type into the link below, promo code Double Toasted, and start your free trial of Shudder today.
I've been on this for only 5 minutes, and I shudder to think what I would do without this service.
And that means we just need to get the hell on out of here. So I'd like to say again that this video has been approved and sponsored by AMC Shudder. And Martin, shout out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Martin, thank you. They like, damn, y'all are the most frightening thing here. Man, if Superman grew up in the country, he'd be racist as fuck.
Yeah. In Kansas, yeah.
His
parents would be on meth.
In Kansas.
In school, they'd be teaching them that evolution was not real.
You'd have the Super Clan. You wouldn't have. Superman grew up in Kansas, he'd be the alt-right would win. And plus, because that's more believable than him being good all the time, at least. Look, I could even take it like, okay, your mom and your daddy raised you right. You tried to do the right thing, but there'd be one day Superman would just say, F it. He's like, I'm getting tired of it.
Well, it would be Batman.
You see Batman?
Like, Jesus.
Holy shit. It's almost like Superman just told Batman, man, get the f out the way. I'm tired of this shit. There. You're welcome. Problem solved. Give me your cape real quick. That is why this movie right here is so relatable. Because, no one wants to admit it, but as a kid, we've all had that fantasy. At least, even if it's just for a brief moment where we want to kill our parents. And that is why kids don't have laser eyes and superpowers, because
that's why. Nothing to do with evolution.
Use your imagination for a second, but this mother read more comic books than me. He can't suspend his disbelief for just 1 second right
You're
there.
the one trying to.
He can't.
You're the one trying to push it aside. You're going like, well, realistically,
Just
this
one
is what
day,
Superman would
one
do.
day out of all these comic books, you can't just one day just suspend your disbelief. And the one day I say this, you're gonna bring science into this. Well, that's not possible. God damn. And he gonna leave and he gonna go home tonight and read a goddamn funny book. Hey, you better be glad I ain't got no laser eyes right now. I'll burn your ass up. Well, that's not possible. It's about to be. Yeah, because if you take well, you know, that is, you ain't looking for realism like my man over here. I like he ain't applied this logic to Superman, the real one, at all. Well, no man would fall from space and be raised like this. But if he was, he would not. There's not one moment that there would be that one moment. What I mean, you mean to tell me through the terrible twos that he wouldn't throw a tantrum and just tear up the whole house? Take mama's head off with a swipe? No! You mean to tell me going through hormones as a teenager that there's not one moment, not one where you would like snap on your parents, you wouldn't pick your mama up by the throat and say, bitch, you clean my room. You know, that's why Superman is, sometimes people say, I could relate to him, but he's just too good, because I know if I had powers, I'd be the biggest asshole in the world.
But you're a human, and he's not. So that doesn't mean, it means his puberty might not be the same as yours.
Shit, that he was raised with Earth people.
But puberty is not based on who you're raised with. That's a biological function.
Oh, Martin, but that's ridiculous. That can never happen. Martin, that's not real. It'd be one day. I know what kind of person I would be with powers.
Yeah, we all know.
Yeah.
That's why the government would destroy you.
But they couldn't. And that is why I would win. And that is why, and that is why, Martin, that is why you will bow to your knees before Cold Man.
Okay, we really are talking fantasy now.
Oh, yes. Bow before a cold man. Core E. That is why I think that Brightburn, people see more of themselves in this evil ass little kid than they do ever in Superman.
Sad commentary.
It's a sad commentary, but it's true. The world is a sad commentary, Martin. But does that make for a fine film? Let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer.
I want him in handcuffs and I want him gone. Do you even know who his real mother is?
I'm his real mother.
Let's go.
Well, I love that look right there. That's that look right here.
I'll get you, bitch.
What is that?
That's evil black Superman right there.
I will never turn against our son.
He's not my son.
I was getting a lot of the Superman comparison because it starts out like Superman pretty much, where you have some sort of this object from space, and inside of that is contained this little infant, which for all appearances looks human. And of course they have Brightburn is the name of the town, which is just Smallville. And so that's where the setup for that is coming from. As much attention as it's getting for being this is even arguable right here. One of the most obvious, one of the biggest superhero so far, one of the biggest superhero horror movies. Something that some people say, well, I haven't really seen it done before right here. Man, that idea is like, how come I didn't think of that? That's just that, why, how come no one has thought about this already? I'm going to say that it doesn't play to that too much for me. There's powers, and there's things that Superman can do, shoot lasers from his eyes. This kid can do this too.
Fly, super speed.
Fly, super strength. But really, this whole setup of being a superhero horror movie is really mostly, and again, for me, it's mostly a horror film. I think that was an easy way to do this movie. It's not a movie with a big budget. Mm-hmm. You can tell that this is, but by Hollywood standards,
sure,
it doesn't have a big budget,
right,
but it's a lower budgeted film. And what I think that they making this more of a straightforward horror movie takes a lot of the complications out, because what we're talking about with Superman, what if he decided to be someone who took it upon himself just to do whatever he wants to, mostly evil things. It's not very complicated here. This Brandon is his name, Brandon Breyer. Brandon Breyer, just one day is just evil. You know, they don't really go and think, look, it's a mystery why. They don't really go into too much why, and what little they do, you'll have to see for yourself when you see the movie. But, you know, it's he's just evil one day. There's no complications of, like I was saying before, and that's why I said it. What are the complications of raising a kid who can be good, but can overpower you? What are you going to do when his hormones start to kick in? What are you going to do if he does throw a tantrum when he can't get what he wants? And he can destroy you if you don't let him have his way. They don't answer those kind of things. They just kind of go around it. And not that they're trying to. I'm just saying that, you know, don't go in thinking that they're playing too much up to the superhero part, even the Superman part, because, as I said, really, if you want to know what I'm thinking here when I see this, I'm mostly thinking this is kind of an extension, the more horror version, gorier version of this movie right here.
I'm sorry.
That's just some redneck. What the hell is this guy's problem?
I ain't got no problems no more. We fixed that, didn't we? That's not to say that is bad. And I even think that the kid, while I'm saying he's not very complicated, the kid, there's a lot of good performances in here. The kid that they have in the movie, Jackson A. Dunn, does a good job at being creepy, man. That's what I'm saying, man. There's no sympathy for this kid. You looking at the movie and thinking like, oh, his parents are trying to get to him because he's been bullied. You know, this kid, you know, he just had a hard time. No, this kid's an asshole, man. He's just a dick. Watching this made me want to kill Superman. I'm like, get him out of here, man. Yeah, this kid, I didn't feel sorry for this kid at all. And that's one of the things with the movie. Just with the flip of a switch, literally almost.
Well, I guess, you know, with the X-Men movies, they're always like, man, we're just trying to live, and the government is hunting us down, and everybody hates us. And a movie like this flips it, the view from the other way. You go, and you're like, oh, but yeah, I think y'all gotta go.
Yes, I was like, this is the movie that the government would use as propaganda for the X-Men. Like, you see why they need to get out of here.
Well, I tell you, I was really looking forward to this. Finally, not so much superhero horror, but flipping this thing with Superman. And the thing is, the idea, like, wow, this is so revolutionary. Mm-hmm. It's been done before in comics, plenty.
Yeah,
this is by far not the first time. But I was really, you know, with this premise, I was really curious to see what they were going to do with it. You know, all the different ways you could go, the implications, what they were going to do, and they took this premise and did jack shit with it. I mean, I don't know how long this movie is. It's a short movie, but they have the premise and nothing else. It's just kind of plays the same thing over and over. The things that happen, yeah, you're talking about how you think it'd be one of these things where he's a sweet kid and then you slowly see him going through puberty and the parents trying to deal with it. But no, it's just one day. He's just an evil
yeah,
and he's murderous and he's creepy. And he's not even the kid they had before. And he goes through what he's doing. And some of it he does, I don't even really see a logic to it other than he's just trying to be scary and hurt people. Some of the people he kills, you're like, well, they didn't do nothing. There's no real rhyme or reason other than you just want to make a movie that's scary. There's so much that could have been done. And even them trying to pretend like, hey, man, it's the first time with superheroes and powers. No, there's Chronicle. There's Unbreakable. There's Split. Just even within movies, this is not fresh.
And that's what I was saying with I forgot to mention the name. That was Chronicle that I showed. I kept looking at Chronicle, and the reason why I brought up Chronicle is because Chronicle,
it did so much.
Explain why this person was like he was. I forgot the name of the character, but the guy that's playing Andrew. Yeah. Andrew in the movie. You know, there's a guy that was being picked on. There's a guy that finally made some friends, and then life seemed to be on the right track, and then powers came in and played a part in that and ruined everything.
Accident, Andrew? Andrew?
You know that
this movie's sad because you're rooting for Andrew and you see where his life is going on a good trajectory, and it just starts to go wrong, and it's always that feeling like, man, if it could have just stayed together, if these things hadn't happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, wow, why couldn't he have made friends with them before Powers got involved in that? Then that's why I said, and see, that I was kind of hesitant to say it because people are gonna say, well, you're making your own movie, and I am.
But no, I wanted a movie that would do anything. It just didn't do anything.
Well, I just thought that's why I said you're taking kind of the comp. You know, you're almost saying that I'm trying to avoid doing anything. I just want to take the easy route and do this story here and just make it a horror movie, where I think that's fine. But I do think that when you have something that could have been a deeper story, and you're right, it's almost like they had the idea, but they didn't really do anything to flesh it out in between. When you have something that is, when you're playing with that premise, Superman decides to be evil, it shouldn't just be the flip of a switch in his head. Yeah. It really should be, all right, was it, there's so many things he could have played with. Were his parents abusive? Was he picked on? And were there signs of him where maybe he is a sociopath, but what led him to be there? Not just overnight he decides to go kill some chickens and like, you know what? Oh, this was fun and let me kill humans. Yeah. This is, now, that's not to say that it can't be fun. I think that it works well on a, if we go on a horror level, if you just want to go watch something and you want to see Michael Myers with powers, something like that, because that's what you essentially have here. You have a slasher flick, and when they, knowing that, they decide that the horror aspects of this are our strength. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you jump scares, which are pretty typical, and we're going to give you some gore, which I have to say, the jump scares sometimes they're not as bad as they are in some other movies, but the gore, if that's what you're looking for in horror, it's not that bad here. Just again, nothing it's more where they're just trying to like show the audience, I guess basic level things instead of doing some real storytelling. And while we're leading up to the gore, I will say that they do good moments where they set up the tension, when something's about to happen, where it is more than just a jump scare. They play with, space. They play with Brandon hiding in certain corners where you can barely see him. Not anything too original, but I do appreciate the way they structured certain scenes to lead up to that. And I'm not gonna put you that whole thing right there, but they know how to get to you with the gore. They hit you in some real spots that you don't. I'd rather break a bone than have somebody stick something in my eye. And they play with that and they draw it out. So if you're into that kind of element of a horror movie where you're more into the gory side, you're more into the I guess the visceral side of it, then this is something that you'd probably like. If you're looking for more story, I think that I don't think that there's much there. I really like Elizabeth Banks. The mom who's trying to get through to, and for me, that's just kind of a wasted character because they with all the things that she's doing to protect her son, which, at first starts out very sweet. Then it starts out somewhat sympathetic what she has to go through. And then you're like, damn, woman, quit being a white mama in this and defending this kid every time. Our son is good. He wouldn't do that. I love Dad in this.
Me too.
Dan Denman. Right here, Dad don't fuck around. He's like, man, that ain't our kid. She's like, oh, son, that ain't our fucking son. That's a thing. He's like, hey, I'm not gonna tell you what happens where it goes to, but I love the way, because mom is just kind of like, my boy would never do that.
My
like,
baby wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah, shit. Again, to come in and say, I don't want to like sit up here and say that I think that this is a bad film. I don't. Like I said, I think that there are certain things that work well on the horror end. It's a fun film. It is a fun film just on the horror side, but it's a lot of missed opportunity with it. This just turns into like an abridged version of The Omen or something. Yeah. This is another this is just another kid possession film almost in a way with instead of a demon, the kid's got superpowers. I know a lot of people are going to watch this and they're going to enjoy it because it's short and it moves at a good pace, but the pace is almost too fast. I was almost getting Game of Thrones syndrome with this. We're just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? We're just kind of like, man, you just hitting plot points here. You ain't really telling me a story. Yeah, I would have to give this. I'll give it a high rental.
Yeah, I didn't so much feel like they didn't make my movie because I didn't have a movie. I knew the premise. I thought this is good. There's so many different things you could do. I want to see what you guys do. This movie was golly, I don't know how it's going to end up by the end of the year, but this is one of the biggest disappointments of this year. This had the potential to be so much. I found it really kind of dull, and throughout so much of it, I was like, this dialogue's kind of bad. They just have good actors that make you not notice it so much. Just because of the production they get out of it with the budget they have, and you're right, some of the horror stuff is effective, like the glass in the eye and some of those other things. It's enough for me to give it a rental. Like, I don't want to go quite some old bullshit, but it's a very unenthusiastic rental for me.
You know, for this, I mean, this is a great way to explain like slasher physics, because
Jason, all of them
Jason
came from this
just
planet.
Yeah, exactly. They made all from another planet because Jason he'll just pop up on your ass. You know, Jason just teleports, and they ain't tried to explain it. People be running from Jason. Jason be getting tired and shit. And you start like, shit, I got your ass there. Oh, at least with a superhero, you can explain that. You know, at least, you know, he's got super speed. They've taken a like superhero origin and made it into like a horror film.
Yeah.
Where you got pretty much Superman crash lands, he goes, loses his mind, becomes evil. I would love to see a movie about like some just asshole kid who wants nothing but to be the best, grows up, loses hair, and gets all kind of money, and then decides, you know what? I'm gonna use my powers for good. And he tries to stop this guy.
Oh.
And like if Lex Luthor was great and nice, I would love to see. And I'm not even joking. I would love to see if they did like build a universe with it. Maybe, you know, like they did with Split.
Sure.
Like, well, you saw how that worked out.
Yeah. And then you say that, I'm like, oh well, I don't know. Now, I wouldn't mind it if he went through whatever next stage of development and grew out of his murderous phase and kind of went like, oh wow, I'm so sorry I did that. I'm gonna dedicate my life to being good. And then more of those meteors crash, and it's more of those people come out, and he's like, "Okay, I got to stop them."
Yeah. He's like, nah, that's not happening. He said, nah, Martin, that don't sound as much fun. He's like, how about this, Martin? How about all these meteors crashes, and I join them?
Right? How about that?
Yeah. How about this, Martin? How about I just kill your ass right now? And you never see how the next movie works out. And I promise we'll never scare you away. So please hit that subscribe button. And if you really love what we do, check out our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, you'll find the long form version of this video, unedited, uncensored. Also, the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Support us at YouTubemerch.com. And remember to always stay toasty.